I identify as polyamorous,
Right.
which means I have the capacity to have more than one romantic partner. My husband's monogamous and
Right.
I'm polyamorous. And so I use the phrase that we're in an open marriage. It's just the freedom to design your life the way that you want and with the relationships that enrich you in the most fulfilling way.
Do you enjoy the sex?
Sometimes I have. We do a relationship check-in every anniversary. And so when we got to the sexual component, I said, do you want to have a threesome? And he said,
I would say, is it not a legal way for someone to cheat? All right, welcome again. And whenever you see a one-on-one, just know the conversation is about to get heated up. It's going to get more. We're venturing into a lot of aspects and want to understand the person better and more on a personal basis, but more also on a romantic basis this time round. Her name is Courtney. We've had her on the podcast already, and she face might be familiar with you guys. And today we're exploring more in her dating life as well, in her being in German as well, but more so, I'll let you take a guess. It's something that involves having a lot of partners as well. Well, a brief introduction, maybe for anyone who doesn't know who Courtney is and where she comes from and what she does.
yes. Hi, I'm Courtney Boyer. I'm an American living in Germany for 6.5 years. I live on the opposite side of Germany. I'm a relationship expert and author, and I'm excited to be here again.
Amazing. Courtney, you're an American.
Mhm.
You've been how long in Germany?
6.5 years.
6.5 years. That's a long time.
Yes.
And you've dated. How would you describe your dating experience?
I was interesting.
Interesting. So from interesting, that is where we're deriving from. Courtney, you are married, if I
Yes.
understood that right
Yep.
in our last episodes. And how long are you married for?
21 years.
21 years.
Yeah.
And because I want to make this more understandable to everyone
Absolutely.
watching there. So
Okay.
you have a partner,
Uh-huh.
but you also experience with different kinds of partners. So you
Uh-huh.
have, could you please define what that is?
Sure.
And there is definitely a name for that, and that is what Courtney is about to talk to us about. And I would want her to phrase it in her own words and venture more into what it means and what it's all about.
Perfect. So I identify as polyamorous,
Right.
which means I have the capacity to have more than one romantic partner.
So do you have a number? Does it end at any point?
Usually two, like my husband and one other man. I'm not into women romantically.
Right.
But in terms of time and energy wise, right now, I'm just like maxed at one other partner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the list doesn't get bigger.
No, it's not like a Pokemon collect them all for me.
Right.
Like it's very intentional, like deep relational based. And yeah,
Is this like a rule, or is it
No.
something that everyone gets to explore? on their
everybody,
own?
it changes. It's different for every person, and different seasons of life can change.
Right.
I think it's just the freedom to design your life the way that you want and with the relationships that enrich you in the most fulfilling way.
Right. Polyamorous relationships are really quite new for me as well.
Okay.
It would be, I think, my third time I'm hearing about it. I didn't
Oh.
really get
Yeah.
to hear a lot about it. So
Okay.
that is why
I'm so excited then.
I'm very interested into
Yeah.
getting to know everything.
Okay.
So when did you realize that this was for you?
I realized it in August of 2022. Yeah, that's when I did a psychedelic mushroom trip, which I a few months before had asked to be in an open marriage, like to open the marriage.
Right.
And then I started to date and was like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like how transactional it feels. I don't like how casual it feels. And then did this guided mushroom trip to address just some of my own, self-worth issues, body image issues. And that was one of the things that came up for me. Is that
Was it motivated or derived by any unsatisfactions that you had in your marriage?
Yes and no. So my husband, he's a doctor, and I joke that he was married to medicine and I was his mistress. But in a way that was kind of accurate. He gave all of his time and energy into his job, and then me and the kids got like his breadcrumbs.
Okay.
And so I was just, after 17 years, I was like, I can't do this. Like, I need connection. I need romance. I need intimacy. And I saw non-monogamy as the answer.
So if I would say someone, is it not a legal way for someone to cheat?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I think if you look at the definition of what cheating is, it is lying or deception. And that can happen in non-monogamy, but non-monogamy is not the same as being deceptive or lying. It's just a different relationship structure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to get this right, so all parties must agree and they must consent to this kind of relationship.
Correct.
So that means
Yes.
also the third person or the fourth or the fifth or whatever number you want to get to, whatever extent you get to, everyone has to consent to this kind of relationship.
Correct. Yes. There are people just like in monogamy that can cheat, but that's not inherently the relationship structure. As long as everyone should be informed and on board, everybody's aware, there's no hiding things. That's the ethical part of it that people like to categorize it as.
Is this a new dating style or have we had it also in the past?
No, it's actually been around for thousands and thousands of years. Societies historically have been, organized around polygamy, polyamory. A lot of anthropologists believe that humans are not monogamous, but it's been more of like a cause.
Is this a new dating style or have we had it also in the past?
No, it's actually been around for thousands and thousands of years. Societies historically have been, organized around polygamy, polyamory. A lot of anthropologists believe that humans are not monogamous, but it's been more of like a colonization thing.
So how do you explain this to your relatives at the family dinner that you are in a polyamorous relationship?
So I don't say I'm in a my husband's monogamous and I'm polyamorous. And so I use the phrase that we're in an open marriage. So he chooses monogamy. He doesn't have a desire to date or have other partners. And so I identify for me is when we came out, or I came out to my kids and to my in-laws and just said, hey, just like when I said to you, there's some people who have the capacity to love more than one person. That's how I identify. And I feel most fulfilled and happiest when I have more than one romantic partner.
And your husband had to agree with it.
Correct.
Though he is monogamous.
Correct. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So explain to me, how does this work? Is it only you who gets to explore with different partners or can your husband also do it? Of
course he can. Yeah. He's not chained to the basement, where he can only go outside once a day, which some people think that in this, they think it's this really crazy power dynamic. But no, he just has consciously chose to only have one romantic partner. He doesn't have a desire to go out and date, to connect with other people in a sexual or romantic way.
All right. Yeah. So after realizing that this is what is right for you and this is what makes you happy, how do you explain this to your husband?
Yeah, that was hard. I think once he actually summarized it really well for me one time. He said, I finally understand that you have the ability to give and receive love more than most people. And I think that's really how it comes down, is that I want to connect with another man in a way that isn't limited and is enriching and fulfilling and is on a really deep connection level.
Right. Is there any level of transparency in that relationship?
In which one?
Do you communicate with full transparency with your husband? If, for example, anything, do you have, or let me put it this way, are you hiding any secrets from him?
No, I wouldn't say secrets. He's made it clear that he's not interested in knowing what I do sexually with the men that I date. And so I don't share that. So if we're talking hey, how's so-and-so doing or whatever, I'll say, oh, his mom is sick, or, we're going to go to Paris this weekend, or, whatever. We talk in generalities, but not specifically to do with he knows I have sex with a man that I'm in a relationship with, but we just don't discuss it. So I wouldn't say it's a secret. It's just a boundary.
So you've told your husband, this is who you are, this is what you want to explore. Did you just sit him down? Did you call him on an evening? Did you invite him on a cup of coffee? How does this go?
So it was actually at our anniversary dinner, on our 17th wedding anniversary.
On your anniversary dinner?
Yeah.
What a way.
Because every year we do a relationship check-in.
I'm sorry, I'm not being judgmental.
No, it's fine. People are very unkind to me online, so you're totally fine. I've been called it all, so it'll be fine. We do a relationship check-in every anniversary. So we go over, and I actually wrote the check-in, and it was picked up by the Huffington Post, and so we use it. And it's 5 different categories that we go through: emotional, sexual, financial, physical, and spiritual. And we touch these. And so when we got to the sexual component, I said, do you want to have a threesome? And he said, no. And I said, and I didn't want to have a threesome, but I wanted to introduce the idea of opening the marriage. And then that's what led to the discussion of that. It did not go well at all. That's actually the opening scene of my memoir that comes out in February. And we spent the next 6 months talking about it. What would that look like? Why is this important to me? Why is it not important to him? And before we finally came to a conclusion. So
were you planning this all along in your head?
Like from day one? Oh, no. No. I grew up very religious. Like it was not, I didn't even know what polyamory was when I got married at 22. I knew what it was once I was in graduate school. A few years after that, I met like a throuple, but I just never had a desire to do that because I was so religious. And then as I started to get older and started to deconstruct and reconsider my faith, and also looked at like how women's bodies and sexuality has been controlled by men for all of time, I started to realize that, like there are different ways of living and relationally relating to each other.
Right. How does his family take all this in?
What my family?
He's in both. So his family and your family, because he's a monogamous person.
Sure, yeah.
He is committed to one partner.
Yeah.
And you said he says no. So he's really not into having many partners and so on.
How does he?
How does the family react to all of this?
They were really supportive. I think because they respect us so much and know that if this is what we thought was the most healthy, important, right, aligned decision, that they would support us in that. And so they said, hey, if this makes you guys happy and nobody's getting hurt, like, great, who cares? And they can see the difference in our marriage too. Like they can see that we're a lot happier, a lot more connected. Like it wasn't just, oh, hey, like Courtney's gonna go out and like screw other guys. Like we went to therapy, he went to therapy, I went to therapy. Like it was a whole transformational process that led to this.
Mm-hmm. So if your husband said no on that day, would you have divorced him?
That is a tough question. So the short answer is yes, but not because he said no to being polyamorous.
Right.
It was because our marriage was in a bad spot. And he wasn't willing to he wasn't willing to go to therapy. He wasn't willing to like work on our marriage. And so I saw this as the solution. And so if that was like my last resort. And so if he said, no, nothing's going to change. I don't care whether you're polyamorous or not. I'm not changing. Then I would have asked for a divorce.
Do you think of considering any other, maybe any other options? Were there any other options on the table, or was this the only thing for you that you felt could remove all this, could quench the thirst that is in your marriage?
I think at first, this is what led me to realize it. I think even if our marriage was in a great spot, because I've asked my husband this before, do you think that if you were the man that you are now back then, that I would have realized I was polyamorous? And he said, yes, I think that this is the path that you needed to go in order to connect with yourself in that way.
Right. So we've established Courtney's background. We've ventured into her dating life with her husband and how it came to this point. Well, now we want to understand the term
polyamory.
Polyamory. It's still a hard term for me, guys. So polyamory, we want to understand this term more. And you mentioned earlier, it's someone having a consensual relationship with other people, to try to summarize it all together. And let's venture more into this. So how does it work? Do you guys have a group chat where you communicate? Do you stay together? How does this work?
Yeah. So everybody does polyamory different. How I do it is it's called parallel polyamory. So think of it like two parallel lines, two relationships that don't interact with each other.
Okay.
So it's not that my husband doesn't know and if I have a boyfriend, he doesn't know about my husband. It's just we're not hanging out together. We're not like doing sleepovers together. Like it's like having two different relationships.
So the two different relationships, have you at one point thought of bringing these two people together?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Have you done it? You haven't done it before.
No, I would love that if my husband and boyfriend were friends. And I think eventually if I have a partner that is in a situation, a lot of the men that I've dated don't live near me. Like they live like hours away. And so it's not a convenient, like, hey, let's just like go grab a beer on a Saturday night. It requires a lot of planning and travel and finances to do. So I think if it lined up that we were able to have dinner together or, celebrate a holiday together, then I would love that. But I also want to respect my husband's boundaries, and he wants to wait until he feels like he really likes the guy that I'm dating.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'd say there's multiple factors, but it's not because of anything that anybody's like, it's bad or scary or there's fear. It's just logistical wise.
All right.
Yeah.
So before choosing any person, are there some criteria that you look at? Do you sit down with your husband and so does the person submit their CV? You sit down and review everything and talk with your husband and decide on who is the best candidate?
No, my husband's not involved with who I decide to date. He's like, I'm not interested because I get a lot of attention from men online, but I don't get a lot of follow-up per se. Does that make sense?
It does.
So like, oh yeah, like I want to go on. They basically just want to have sex with me, but then I'm not interested in that. I want to actually date and have a relationship and get to know them. So my husband doesn't really pay attention until I'm actually dating somebody.
Right.
So he lets me decide what I want. And like, that's just like I wouldn't have criteria. He couldn't give me criteria to find a friend. Like, that's how it is. He's like, I trust you. You're a grown woman.
Right.
You know what you want. You know better than I do. So I trust you to make a good choice.
So we're looking at the point where the husband has no say in it. It's your own thing.
I would say it's not that he doesn't have a say. It's just that I value his opinion. Like I will be like, hey, what do you think about? And he's like, I'm not getting involved, Courtney. Like, because usually I will want to process with him. And he's just like, you have to figure that out for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So here I'm asking you to speculate.
Okay.
If at one point you get to bring these two people together and they start hanging out without you, wouldn't that make you feel jealous in a way?
No. I would love that. And they'd be friends. That. Yeah. I think that's great. I don't get jealous in the respect because to me, jealousy is rooted in insecurity and fear. And I'm not afraid I can communicate and share and say, hey, I'd really like you to include me next time. And then if they choose to not include me, like over and over, then I'll be like, okay, then we're wanting different things in these relationships. And so this probably isn't going to work on some level.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you tell someone out there who thinks a relationship like that would only be motivated by a high sex libido?
Oh, I can understand that. I think people, when they think of polyamory, may confuse it with like swinging or non-monogamy in general. Polyamory requires a lot of communication, a lot of self-awareness. Like that's kind of a boner killer. Like people aren't like, oh, that's a real turn on to talk about how like jealous I'm feeling right now or how insecure I'm feeling. So I think, sure, sex is a part of it, but it's so much more than that.
Okay.
It's for me in my polyamory journey. Everybody's is different.
Do you enjoy the sex?
Sometimes I have. Yeah, sometimes I've had some really bad sex. It's in my memoir. You can read about it. I've had some really great sex. But to me, sex is much more than just insert A into B. It's the connection that I have with the person. So if I don't have a good connection with somebody, you could be the most gorgeous person and have an incredible body with a great whatever. And it's not going to do much for me if I don't feel that connection with you.
All right. Have you ever reached at a point where you feel like you need to stop?
So one thing that's helpful to understand is that some people think that polyamory is like a lifestyle choice, and some people think it's an orientation or it's a way you're born.
Right.
So for me, I truly believe that I was born polyamorous.
Right.
I just didn't realize it until later.
Right.
So it's kind of like asking somebody, do you think you'll stop being gay?
Right.
You know? So I would say that there's been times where I don't like I'm not actively dating or looking for another partner but that part of me doesn't shut off. Does that make sense?
Okay. That helps me understand it better.
Okay.
So how do you divide yourself in terms of time?
It depends. So I've dated guys who live farther away, typically to be in relationships with. And so usually I'll go see them and like spend a weekend with my boyfriend for like 2 to 3 weeks, or every 2 to 3 weeks, I'll spend like a weekend with him. And kind of do that pattern. And then I talk to him every day. It's kind of like being in a normal long distance relationship.
Right. And if this person wants to take things serious at one point, is it something that scares you because you're already committed to your husband? Wouldn't be now cheating on your husband in a polyamorous relationship?
What do you mean by serious?
This person wants
Like
to
fall in
move
love?
in with you, wants to have more time with you. This person wants to see you maybe on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Because it's a relationship, and
Sure, of course.
it is validated as well. It has its validations as well. So
I think it's so I can tell you're monogamous because you look at the world, like the questions you're asking are from a very monogamous.
I don't even know if I'm monogamous.
Oh, really? You don't?
Maybe
Okay.
I should find out myself.
Okay, maybe you're not. Because what I see in monogamy is that we are on this relationship escalator. So we meet, we date, we fall in love, we move in together, we get married, we have kids, right? And then we've reached this point. But in non-monogamy, there is no point. The point is enjoying life as it is, being in each other, like adding value. And that feels really scary for some people because they feel that safety that monogamy brings and like, oh, okay, well, I'm with this person, done. I don't have to date anymore. And with polyamory, it's like I get to be with this person in as long as I want to be. We both are consenting and we're both on the same page.
Right.
I've fallen in love with some of the men that I've dated. They've fallen in love with me. But I'm very clear, like my kids are my priority. My marriage is a priority. And so my youngest is 12 and like I want to be in the home with him and raise him. And I don't want somebody else moving in. So I can't offer you that in terms of that being a part of a relationship.
Right.
Now, what it's like in 10 years, I don't know, but I know that that's right now. That's what feels aligned with me and my husband and my kids.
You've mentioned kids.
Uh-huh.
How many do you have?
3.
3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful number. One other one I have as well in the future. So you have 3 kids, and how do you explain to the kids about this?
Exactly the same way.
How to bring them in?
Yeah, exactly the same way I explained it to you. That I have the capacity to have more than one, the capacity for more than one romantic partner.
Right.
And so they're like, oh, okay, cool.
Do they just leave it at that? Understand
they don't really care. I mean, when I told them they were 10, 12, and 14, and so they were concerned about the ethics of it. Like, do you date men whose wives know that you're like, they wanted to make sure there was no cheating happening. And I said, absolutely, I don't date cheaters. That's not the case for everybody in polyamory or non-monogamy. Some people, they don't care what their partners do. As long as their relationship is consensual and ethical, that's what matters. But for me, it does matter. So I don't date cheaters. And they wanted to make sure that their dad was okay with it. But they've seen the change in our marriage, and they see that we are so much closer and happier now. And so they're it's like normal for them.
All right. Courtney, I've went a bit through your page, and I've seen the criticism you get from the public and so on.
Yeah.
How do you deal with all this judgment?
I think I remember that most of it is I'm just a mirror. So like their like hate towards me or criticism towards me is really just a reflection of their own pain inside. Like happy people don't say the things that people say to me online. Like people who are hurting say those things. So I try to offer compassion. Sometimes I'm not very compassionate. I will clap back, or I don't insult. I will push back though sometimes. I think I understand that they think it's unfair in a lot of respects. And so, especially the men. And so I try to keep that in mind when I am considering what they're saying.
Do you feel unsafe sometimes?
I've only felt unsafe one time. Yeah. I had a man who would not stop messaging, emailing, like over and over. And so I finally just had to like block him on everything, and eventually he stopped. But I've never felt like, I mean, I've gotten a couple of death threats, I guess you could say, but not to where I felt like, okay, this is really bad.
Right.
Yeah.
So this kind of relationship is legal as well. It has its legal basis and so on. And
yeah, because I'm not marrying anybody else.
Because you're not marrying anybody else. Right. And at one point of time, do you feel like the society, we should do more work in informing them about this kind of relationship so that people who are open to explore this kind of relationships do not get segregated in a way, do not get cornered or stormed on them like your social media platforms are? Do you feel like maybe society is not doing enough, and they should have been doing enough to inform themselves when it comes to these kind of relationships? Yeah,
I mean, I think that in an ideal world, yes. Like I don't even really see polyamory displayed in like the media for the most part. And that's one of the reasons why my husband and I did come out and share our story, is because we wanted to normalize that you can be a soccer mom and have the capacity to love more than one person romantically. So yes, that would be nice in an ideal world to talk about lots of different ways to structure families and relationships and validate those as long as they're consensual and legal. So yeah, I mean, that'd be great. It'd be nice, but I'm not holding my breath.
We're hoping for the best.
Hoping for the best.
We're hoping for the best. So, all right. Well, amazing. These are most of them are also new things to me that I'm trying to explore and trying to understand as well, Courtney.
Yeah.
But would you say that your commitment to your husband has changed or shifted in any way?
Yes and no. I would say that there's no longer like an expectation of, there's a hope of like, hey, we want to stay together for the rest of our lives, but I don't feel it's not an obligation. We're both together by choice. Like we choose each other every day. And I think that one, that's really sexy. And two, it's really empowering instead of like, stuck with this dude for the next 40 freaking years. Like this sucks, versus like, I get to be with this man, like for as long as he chooses me and I choose him.
All right.
Yeah.
Courtney, I've had a lot of positivity, and I can tell from the go that you're a very optimistic person, depending on how you answer the questions and everything. But there is always back there some negativity as well.
Sure.
There is a positive, but as well a negative side. Yeah. So what negative points would you point out for me in a polyamorous relationship?
I would say for like some of the hard experiences for me, it's not that they're negative per se, but one of the things, because of where I live, it's not Berlin, which, you can throw a nickel and do they have nickels here? Anyways, a 5-cent piece and you could hit a polyamorous person. But where I am, people don't understand polyamory, or it's very small town, very close-minded. And so the men that I've dated have tended to be single monogamous men who would be embarrassed to be with me, like publicly. So they wouldn't
Right.
tell their family about it. They would hide like our relationship. And so I think that was really hard for a while. And then since my last relationship, I've just been like, hey, I can't date men that are going to keep me a secret. Like
Right.
I want him to be proud of being with me.
Right.
So I think that's been a hard part of feeling like there's something wrong with me because the men that I care about or that say that they care about me want to hide me.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any other challenge that you would?
Society's judgments. Like
Right.
my husband and I are in a position where we just don't care like what people think. We don't need to rely on them for whatever. And not everybody comes from a family or supportive system that is as accepting. So, it's hard to date somebody or be in a relationship with somebody who's closeted and can't we can't do this or we can't go here because then my daughter might see or my parents might see or, So I think that's hard to exist in spaces where you're not supposed to exist.
So do you think the most guys that want to date you or try to date you are in it for the experience or just for the sake of having sex with you?
You mean who actually go on a date with me or who just show interest?
They're interested in the polyamorous relationship or they're just really into the sex?
I think it's a couple of things. One, my age. So I'm 43 and I'm like in this in between where I've got 20-year-olds who are interested in me and 60-year-olds. So it's this very wide range. And the whole age gap, cougar, younger man thing. So I think that there's maybe some novelty in that. So men are, and I'm a kind person. How I am now to you is how I am to all people, even online, unless they're kind of a jerk and then I'm not as nice, but I'm never completely rude. And so sometimes men will confuse that kindness for interest.
Right.
Or and because they know I'm polyamorous, they'll think polyamory equals easy. And so then they'll just think, oh, I don't have to make an effort. You're just going to screw me anyways.
Anyway, right.
So I think that there's interest in me on various levels and because of my job. So I think once men kind of get over the wow factor of those things and just get to know me as the person, then they kind of figure out what their interest is.
Right. And in line of your job, have you at one point had to disclose this to any of your client and maybe regretted having done that?
Yeah. So I was really hesitant to come out professionally because I was afraid that I was going to lose clients. Because I didn't want them to think that I was I'm not a non-monogamy coach. I'm not here to try to help you open your relationship. I'm not here. If you want to explore that, sure, great. We can talk about it, but that's not the answer for everybody. I'm not trying to convert anybody to polyamory. And I think I was really afraid of that for a long time, that people are going to judge me. They're going to think I'm a bad mom. They're going to, not think that not take me seriously professionally anymore.
Right.
And so, yeah, I did wait as long as I could, I thought, before coming out. And really, nobody cares. I mean, sure, there are a few people that do care.
Right.
Yes, but those aren't my people. And so those aren't the clients that I'd want to work with anyways.
I mean, there is a saying there, ones that value us and really love us will stay.
Yeah, exactly.
There is too.
Yeah.
Amazing. This has been a journey.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you feel like I haven't touched yet that you would like to air out there?
Gosh, you've asked some really great questions. I think one of the things that we have to unpack is the ability to really unlearn what we've been taught about relationships have to look like this and they can only be like this. And I think that when we're told we have to do something a certain way, there's usually a group of people that significantly benefit from our conformity. And when we have to disconnect from who we are in order to show up in the world to be loved, that's not love, that's performance.
Right.
So my encouragement would be for people to explore and to connect with what aligns with them most and what makes them feel loved and fulfilled and to chase those parts of life.
That sort of answers a bit of my next question, but I'll still pose the question to you. what kind of advice would you give to polyamorous people out there that are scared of society judging them, that are scared of all this that you went through, and are hiding behind the curtains and do not feel confident to come out and air their relationship to public?
Yeah, gosh, that's hard. At first, when I was outspoken, I would get really angry at poly people who would stay closeted because I got so much hate and criticism, and it felt unfair. I was like, I'm out here getting like my ass kicked, and you're just sitting back there with your like 4 different partners, like having a great time, and nobody knows about it. And then I started to decide, like, I'm either doing this for me and for like the future of relationships and love without expectation. And so I think that I had to let go of wanting people to show up boldly and publicly the way that I did. And so I guess my first thought would be, is it safe for you to be polyamorous and be out?
Right.
But to the caveat of, there is a risk in everything that we do. There's a risk in staying single and staying in being married and this, and that the more that you live in shame, like that takes a toll. And so but at the same time, not everybody is entitled to know your whole story. So you can say, oh yeah, my partner or this or that, but not everybody needs to know that you're talking about maybe 2 or 3 different people when you say partner.
Right.
So I think that we can't create a world that is more loving and accepting if no one is out and everyone is closeted. And so I think finding ways to be brave, but also be mindful of the repercussions of that, and knowing like, okay, at some point I have to choose.
Right. It's a hard choice.
It is, yeah.
Also, if it has to do with criticism out there, that the world will judge you for who you are. Actually, nobody should feel unsafe to come out and tell society who they are and what they identify as and so on. This topic is unending, and trust me, we could sit here and discuss the entire night, but I would like to wrap it up at this point. But before I do, my one last question would be, is Germany a suitable country for polyamorous relationships?
Is it a supportive?
In that way, yeah.
Okay. I mean, short answer would be no. I would say, I'm sure I've heard Berlin is the,
welcome to Berlin.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Unfortunately, I live 6 hours from there. I know it's a bit of a trek. Where I am, no. And I think part of it has to do with the language barrier for me, because my German's not good enough to have a actual conversation with a potential romantic partner. I'm hoping to see more people come out, but Germans are very private people. Right. But I've dated, Italians and French, and it's still the same sentiment. Culture's kind of irrelevant because there's still that fear of what other people think.
Right.
Yeah.
So my last question, and really last question is,
last question.
Do you see your relationship evolving in the future?
Oh, what do you mean? Like how?
Maybe in a positive way. Maybe we see right now you say you really keep it to 2 people.
Right. Yeah.
Do you see maybe the future might change and be like, okay, maybe right now I want to go more exclusive and I want maybe to experience more relationships with different people? Yeah,
that's a good question. So one of the things that we've talked about, my husband and I have a YouTube channel, and we talk about this idea of like relationship anarchy and kind of embracing that idea. But I think for right now, because of my kids and the amount of attention and time I want to give to them, and also my business and my work and traveling and meeting clients, I think that I won't say it's only 2, like I can only do 2. I will say that for right now, that's where I feel full.
Right.
But I'm always open to connecting with people and understanding them. And if there's an amazing connection, like I'm not going to be like, okay, well, bummer. I would go back to my husband, and if I have a partner, to talk to them and just say, hey, I can't give him probably the same amount of attention. I mean, I don't know. So the short answer is yes, I can see evolving for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Any last words to your husband?
To my husband?
To your husband.
Oh man, I think he's amazing. I'm so grateful for him, and I am just so proud of him and so proud of us. So thank you for loving me.
And your kids?
And my kids. Oh, my kids are amazing. They are just the best. I love them.
Right.
They're so great.
They're great. Well, with that, it has been a really heated conversation in here. And I believe with Courtney's experience, we've really understood what this means. And it is really very crucial that we shouldn't judge anyone for who they are. We shouldn't really in any way feel that, have that feeling that we should criticize anyone for what they think they identify or what they know they identify themselves as. And we should really, we at Onlyfacts Podcast, we always say we accept people for who they are and what they believe in. And with that, we've been exploring a polyamorous relationship. And I believe with the expertise of Courtney, we've managed to deeply understand what this means. And for everyone out there who feels they're insecure coming out and airing it out, please do it. Courtney did it, and I believe everyone can do it. And with that, I want to say we've been Onlyfacts Podcast. Please subscribe. Let us know in the comment section what you think. And you might be one of the person. Let us know. Maybe you're part of, you also in a polyamorous relationship and you would like to come out here and add more to what Courtney has just said. Please let us know, like, share, and we'll catch you in the next episode. From me and Courtney, it's been a lovely evening. We say bye-bye.
Bye.